some spicy cherry spare rib. Now, I'm using a St. Louis style rib, which is different than a baby back, and I'll explain that in just a second. But look at those. And I need some mustard and some dry rub. Now, I'm gonna make my own dry rub. A little cayenne, paprika, and cumin will do it. Add it with a little salt and pepper. So, put these down. Okay, so a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of cracked black. There we go. Just a touch of cumin. And you can kind of make a dry rub. You know, professional barbecue teams that are out there competing have kind of like their specialty dry rub that they do for their brisket, for their pork butts. And this is one that I like to use. A little paprika going down. And a little bit of cayenne, just depends on, now I don't want this super hot just on the rub. I want some spice coming out of this cherry glaze, but we'll get into that in a second. Okay, so we get a little bit of the cayenne. I'm gonna wrap these ribs in some foil in a little bit, but just get the foil out now so I can set the ribs down on it. So some foil there, and I'm gonna wrap them individually. Now, cooking them in the foil for that first hour that they're gonna cook is really gonna get a chance to almost kind of steam them a little bit on themselves, and that'll even make them a little bit more tender, but I'm gonna pull them out of the foil in a bit and let them finish off before I put the glaze on them, okay? Look at these ribs, beautiful, nice and pink, white fat. Actually, I got a deep bling. There we go. And this is what you want to look for when you go to your butchers. Ask them if they've been denuded, if this silver skin on the back has been taken off. And you'll see it. It's really slick and it's real shiny on the back. If it isn't taken off, when you cook it, the ribs have a tendency to kind of curl up a little bit because it kind of tightens up. But these have already been done. This is great. Okay. There we go. Now, why do I use the St. Louis style rib? Well, the baby back is used in so many different applications. These, I think, are meatier. I think they take a little bit longer to cook. They can get a little bit tougher, but the flavor, that big bone in there, offers so much flavor all over this. Okay, some mustard. This is nice. It helps my dry rub stick a little bit, and it also imparts some flavor, a little bit of that vinegar. But just a little bit of a rub on this side, a little bit of rub on that side. I got things falling all over the place, especially when I have pork and mustard on my hands, I have things falling. Okay, a little bit on that side. See, just a slight amount to it, and then I'll take this dry rub, kind of mix it up, and by hand, sprinkle a little bit on here. And this we're gonna wanna actually rub into, if there's a little crevice between the fat and the bone, we're gonna wanna hit that area, okay? There we go. Rub that in, get it on the sides, and then flip it. Rub that around, all right. Okay, now those are all dry rub. Now what I'm gonna do is let them come up to temperature. And what I mean by that is I'll let them come to kind of room temperature before I pop them in the oven. It's gonna help in the cooking process. So that one's down, that one's down. For the cherry glaze, I need an onion, I need a little bit of ginger, and I need some garlic. And a little canola oil. Onions down. There we go, get some garlic down. And a little ginger, and you know my little trick of doing that, just take the back of the knife, scrape it down. Only need about an inch or two of the ginger. All right, and that's ready to go. And that goes downtown. Little toss. All right, now gotta grab the cherries. Now, make the dish with fresh cherries if you have them, cherry pie filling if you have them, maraschino cherries. These right here are some nice cherries in a light syrup, and this is exactly what I want to have, a lot of cherries and a lot of syrup because it's going to reduce down. So I'm going to hit in a little bit of that and then pour those cherries right in. And I'm almost deglazing with cherry syrup. Now what I'm going to do is wrap them up, and I've got a preheated oven up to 325. Okay, so wrap these up tight. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook them at 325 for just about 10 minutes. After they do that 10 minutes, I'm gonna lower it down to about 225. And the reason is I wanna give them a nice shock of heat, get them started right off the bat, and then lower that heat and go low and slow for about an hour and a half, okay? After that passes up, we'll take them out of the foil, and let them cook for another hour. Now after they've done that hour, okay, at 225, I'm gonna take them out and slather them in that spicy cherry glaze. So these go down right like that, pronto. 325, and I'll lower them about 10 minutes. Now on this cherry glaze, wow, look at that. You should smell it. It smells like a pie filling, but it's got a lot of ginger coming through. Well, we're gonna make a lot more flavor come standing out. Let's hit it with a little tequila. I know that sounds odd. We deglaze with a little bit of tequila. Now I can start cranking the heat because I was starting to lose all my moisture, but now when I get the tequila in there, I can bring the heat up. a little hot sauce, and this is some of my favorite right here. And we'll put in about a little bit more than a tablespoon, depending on how hot you want it to be. If you want this to be super spicy, you could hit some more in it. Matter of fact, you could even have chopped some jalapeno and put it in there, but the little hot sauce, okay? How about a little soy sauce? I like it for the flavor, a little bit of the saltiness. Okay, about a tablespoon of that. When you think of sweet and sour, when you think of spicy, sweet, sour, this is going to be part of the sour piece, a little sherry vinegar. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to put just a touch of sesame oil. And sesame oil is one of those things, add half of what you think you need, and then if you think you need more later, put some in. But sesame oil has such a strong flavor, I just want to put in just a touch. All right. A lot of big flavor coming out of this now. First went in at 325 wrapped in tin foil. Spent about 10 minutes, okay? And these are some St. Louis style ribs I did a dry rub on. Then I took them, lowered them down to 225, and let them hang out for about another hour, hour and a half. Then took them out, unwrapped them, and let them finish for about another hour. And these are still at 225, and take a look at those. Those are beautiful. Take them off of here. Nice and hot. I'm going to cut them into some sections, and I'm going to put them in this dish right here with this. Oh, look at that steam coming off. I'm going to put them in this dish right here with some of this spicy cherry glaze, okay? So these will go down, and then they're going to go back in the oven at 225 with the glaze on them, finish cooking, finish becoming a little bit more tender, but these are already on their way. They've been dry rubbed, they've been down in the oven for about 4 hours, and they are looking just outstanding. I'll put these up here and let them cool down a little bit. Wow, look at that. When you can bite into it like that,